The wedding venue was beautiful. My sister Jennifer had spared no expense. The Ashford estate was one of those historic properties that charged $20,000 just for the privilege of holding your event there, and that didn't include catering, flowers, or any of the other elements that turned a simple ceremony into a production. The gardens were immaculate, white roses everywhere, string quartet playing softly in the background. It was exactly the kind of wedding Jennifer had always wanted. I was sitting at table 7, which should have told me everything I needed to know about my place in the family hierarchy. Not at the head table with immediate family, not even at table 1 with the honored guests. Table 7 near the back with my cousin Marcus, who everyone avoided because he talked too much about cryptocurrency, and my Aunt Helen, who'd been divorced 3 times and liked to tell people about each marriage in excruciating detail. Sarah. My mother materialized beside me, looking resplendent in a mother-of-the-bride dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Patricia Williams had always known how to make an entrance. There you are. We've been looking for you. Jennifer wants all the family together for photos. I'll be right there, Mom. And please try to smile naturally. You always look so stiff in photos. She glanced at my dress, a simple navy blue sheath that I'd bought off the rack at Nordstrom. That's what you're wearing? Yes. It's very plain. I told you this was a formal wedding. Jennifer specifically requested that everyone dress up. This is dressed up, Mom. She sighed, the kind of sigh that conveyed deep disappointment without actually saying the words. Well, come on then. And maybe borrow some jewelry from someone? You look so bare. I followed her to where the photographer had set up an elaborate backdrop of flowers. Jennifer was there in her wedding dress, a confection of white silk and lace that had required 6 fittings and cost $40,000. Her husband Derek stood beside her, looking vaguely uncomfortable in his tuxedo. Finally, Jennifer said when she saw me. We've been waiting for 20 minutes. The photographer charges by the hour, Sarah. Sorry. I was at my assigned table. You're assigned? Oh my God, did Mom put you at table 7? She laughed, the sound sharp and brittle. That's perfect. Table 7 is where we put people we had to invite but don't really want to talk to. Jennifer, that's rude, my father said, but he was smiling as he said it. Thomas Williams had never been good at actually disciplining his golden child. I'm just being honest, Daddy. Jennifer positioned herself in the center of the family group, making sure she was the focal point. Hey, everyone, smile. Look happy. This is costing a fortune. We took photos for 30 minutes. Jennifer wanted shots with different combinations of family members, different poses, different backgrounds. Through it all, I stood where I was told to stand, smiled when I was told to smile, and said nothing. Okay, I think we're done with family photos, the photographer finally said. Shall we move on to the bridal party? Yes, thank you. Jennifer turned to look at me. Sarah, you can go back to your table now. We're doing bridal party only. I nodded and started to walk away. Wait. My mother caught my arm. Sarah, before you go, Jennifer wanted to introduce you to some people. Potential employers. Employers. Professional connections, my father clarified. People who might be able to help you get a real job. I have a job, Dad. Your little internet hobby doesn't count, Jennifer said, her voice carrying across the garden. Several guests turned to look. Mom and Dad have been networking for you. The least you could do is be grateful. I'm not looking for a job. Well, you should be. Jennifer smoothed down her dress, checking her reflection in a nearby window. Sarah, you're 36 years old. It's time to stop playing entrepreneur and get serious about your career. These people are doing us a favor by even considering you. Considering me for what? Alan Brennan over there. My mother gestured to a distinguished-looking man in his 50s. He's a senior partner at a marketing firm. He said they have an opening for a junior account coordinator. It would be perfect for you. Starting salary is only $55,000, but with your lack of experience, that's actually quite generous. Junior account coordinator, I repeated. Everyone has to start somewhere, my father said firmly. You've wasted 15 years playing around with websites. It's time to get real work experience. Alan is willing to interview you as a favor to us. And Margaret Chin, the woman in the green dress, she owns a PR boutique. She said she might have an entry-level position opening up in a few months. You'd be answering phones, doing administrative work, but it would get your foot in the door. I looked at Margaret Chin, who was chatting with a group of guests and laughing at something someone had said. She looked successful. Confident. Like she'd built something real. I appreciate the thought, I said carefully, but I'm not interested. You're not interested. Jennifer's voice had gone cold. Of course you're not. Because you'd rather keep pretending that your little online shop is a real business. God, Sarah, when are you going to grow up? Jennifer, don't start, Derek murmured, but she ignored him. No, Derek, someone needs to say it. We've all been tiptoeing around Sarah's delusions for years. She sits in her apartment all day playing on her computer, pretending she's running a business. Meanwhile, she's living paycheck to paycheck, driving a car that's falling apart, wearing off-the-rack dresses to weddings because she can't afford anything nice. My car is fine, I said quietly. Your car is 15 years old. It's an embarrassment. And your apartment. When was the last time anyone visited you there? Right, never. Because you're too ashamed to have anyone see how you're actually living. I'm not ashamed of my apartment. You should be. Mom told me it's in that terrible neighborhood downtown. The one with all the, she lowered her voice, questionable people. You could have stayed in the suburbs where it's safe, where it's nice, but no. You had to move to the city to be near your business opportunities. My mother nodded sadly. We've been so worried about you, Sarah. Living alone in that dangerous area. Working all hours on this internet thing that doesn't seem to generate any real income. When was the last time you took a vacation? When was the last time you bought yourself something nice? I bought a new laptop last month. A laptop for work doesn't count. Jennifer was on a roll now, her voice getting louder. More guests were watching. I'm talking about nice things, Sarah. Jewelry. Designer clothes. Luxury items. The things successful people have. Look at Derek and me, we just bought a house in Maple Ridge. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, gourmet kitchen. That's what success looks like. Not sitting in a studio apartment selling things online. I don't live in a studio, I said. Whatever. The point is you're wasting your life. You had potential, Sarah. You went to Stanford. You could have done something real with that degree. But instead you dropped out after 2 years to pursue this ridiculous business idea. And 15 years later, what do you have to show for it? Nothing. I wouldn't say nothing. Name one tangible thing your business has achieved. But one thing that proves it's actually successful and not just you playing pretend. I could have answered. Should have answered. But something stopped me. The same thing that had been stopping me for 15 years. The desire to see how far they'd push it. How cruel they'd be willing to get. I'm happy with what I've built, I said simply. Jennifer laughed, a harsh sound. Happy. That's what unsuccessful people say when they've given up on actually achieving anything. I'm happy. Well, congratulations on your happiness, Sarah. I hope it keeps you warm in that studio apartment when you're 60 and still haven't accomplished anything with your life. Jennifer, that's enough, Derek said more firmly this time. It's not enough. Someone needs to give her a reality check. Jennifer turned to address the growing crowd of guests who'd stopped their conversations to watch our family drama unfold. My sister Sarah, everyone. She's a cautionary tale. Proof that intelligence doesn't guarantee success. She went to one of the best universities in the country and dropped out to sell things on the internet. 15 years later, she's broke, alone, and still pretending she's a businesswoman. I'm not broke, I said quietly. Really? Then why are you wearing a $200 dress to my wedding? Why are you driving a car from 2009? Why couldn't you afford to stay here at the venue like the rest of the family? Mom said you booked a motel 10 miles away because you couldn't afford the room rates. I prefer the motel. Of course you do. Just like you prefer your ancient car and your cheap apartment and your off-the-rack clothes. Sarah prefers everything that costs less because Sarah doesn't have any money. My father cleared his throat. Sarah, honey, we're just trying to help. We love you. We want you to be successful. I am successful, Dad. No, sweetheart, you're not. And it's time to face that fact. This internet business of yours. What do you even sell? Pet supplies? Kitchen gadgets? It's all very vague whenever anyone asks. I run a software company. Jennifer snorted. A software company? Please. You sell products through a website. That's not a software company. That's called being a middleman on the internet. I develop software solutions for e-commerce businesses. Which no one has ever heard of. Name one client. One major client that proves your company is legitimate. I could have named 20. Could have rattled off a list that would have made her jaw drop. But I just smiled and said nothing. See? Jennifer gestured to me triumphantly. She can't name anyone. Because there is no one. There is no real company. There's just Sarah sitting in her apartment, doing who knows what on her computer, pretending she's a tech entrepreneur. The tech industry is very competitive, my mother added, her voice sympathetic. Sarah tried, but she just doesn't have what it takes. And that's okay. Not everyone can be a success story. The important thing is that she learns from this experience and moves on to something more realistic. Which is why we set up these job interviews, my father said. Sarah, please. Talk to Alan and Margaret. Let them help you. It's not too late to start a real career. You're only 36. You could still have a successful professional life if you just let go of this fantasy. It's not a fantasy, I said. Then prove it. Jennifer was almost shouting now. Prove you're actually successful. Show US bank statements. Show us contracts with real clients. Show us anything that proves you're not just a failure who's too stubborn to admit it. The garden had gone completely silent. Even the string quartet had stopped playing. Every single wedding guest was staring at us now, watching the family meltdown with fascinated horror. Derek put his hand on Jennifer's arm. Jen, maybe we should. No. She shook him off. I'm tired of pretending everything is fine. I'm tired of making excuses for her to our friends. Oh, Sarah couldn't make it to dinner because she's working. Oh, Sarah can't contribute to Mom's birthday gift because money's tight. Oh, Sarah can't dress nicely because she spent all her money on her business. I'm done. I'm done covering for her failures. I never asked you to cover for me, I said quietly. You didn't have to ask. That's what family does. We protect each other. We make excuses for each other. But I'm done, Sarah. I'm done pretending you're not an embarrassment. The word hung in the air like smoke. My mother gasped. Jennifer. That's too far. It's not too far enough. Look at her, Mom. Look at what she's wearing. Look at her life. She's an embarrassment to this entire family. We have all these successful people here. Derek's colleagues, my friends from work, Dad's business associates. And they all know that you have a daughter who's a failure. They all know about Sarah and her sad little internet shop that never made anything of itself. I think maybe everyone should take a breath, a voice said from behind me. I turned to see Alan Brennan, the marketing executive my mother had wanted me to meet. He was looking at Jennifer with an expression of deep discomfort. This is a wedding, he continued. Perhaps family disagreements should be handled privately? With all due respect, Alan, this is a private family matter, my father said stiffly. It's not very private anymore, Alan gestured to the 100 guests who were all watching. And I'm not sure I feel comfortable with how this young woman is being spoken to. Sarah is fine, my mother said quickly. We're just having a frank discussion about her future. As her parents, that's our right. It doesn't sound like a discussion. It sounds like an attack. We're trying to help her, Jennifer snapped. She needs tough love. She's been coddled for too long. By whom? Margaret Chin had joined the conversation now, her green dress bright in the afternoon sun. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like she's been doing this alone for 15 years with no support from any of you. You don't understand the situation, my mother said. I understand a family publicly humiliating one of their own at a wedding, Margaret said coolly. That much is very clear. Margaret, please, my father tried. This doesn't concern you. Actually, it does. Because you just told everyone here that I'm supposed to interview Sarah for an entry-level position at my company. Answering phones. Administrative work. Margaret looked at me properly for the first time. Sarah Williams. I didn't make the connection until just now. You're the Sarah Williams. I said nothing. The Sarah Williams who founded Nexus Solutions? The software platform that's revolutionizing e-commerce analytics. The garden seemed to hold its breath. I don't know what you're talking about, my mother said. Nexus Solutions, Margaret repeated louder now. One of the fastest-growing software companies in the tech industry. They provide enterprise solutions for major retailers. Last I heard they were valued at over $7 billion. Jennifer laughed uncertainly. That can't be right. Sarah doesn't. Sarah Williams, Stanford dropout, founded Nexus 15 years ago. Margaret continued. She had her phone out now, pulling up information. Started in a studio apartment in downtown Seattle. Bootstrapped the entire operation. Grew it from nothing to a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. Forbes did a profile on her last year. Called her one of the most successful female tech entrepreneurs in the country. That's impossible, my father said flatly. Is it? Margaret looked at me. You're that Sarah Williams, aren't you? Before I could answer, someone gasped. I turned to see several guests looking at their phones, then at me, then at their phones again. Oh my God, someone said. Turn on the TV. The venue had a large television mounted in the bar area, usually kept off during events. But someone had turned it on and it was tuned to CNBC, the financial news network that covered major market movements and corporate developments. The screen showed a breaking news banner, major tech acquisition announced. And below that, in smaller text, Nexus Solutions valued at $7.2 billion in pending acquisition deal. The reporter was speaking, stunning development in the tech world today. Nexus Solutions, the enterprise software company founded by tech entrepreneur Sarah Williams, has announced it's being acquired by Amazon for $7.2 billion in cash and stock. This represents one of the largest tech acquisitions of the year. Williams, who founded Nexus 15 years ago and has maintained a remarkably low profile despite her company's success, will reportedly remain as CEO of the division post-acquisition. Sources close to the deal suggest Williams' personal net worth could exceed $3 billion after the acquisition closes. The reporter continued talking, but I couldn't hear over the sound of my mother's sharp intake of breath. Every single person in the garden was staring at me now. Not with contempt or pity. With shock. With awe. With the dawning realization that they'd been at a wedding where the supposed family failure had just been revealed to be worth $3 billion. Sarah, my father said weakly. Is that you? Yes. But you said you sold things online. No. You said I sold things online. I said I ran a software company. You didn't believe me. Jennifer had gone completely white. $7 billion? $7.2 billion is the acquisition price. My personal stake is about 40%, so roughly $3 billion, yes. Though the exact number depends on how the stock portion is valued at closing. $3 billion, my mother repeated as if saying it might make sense. Give or take. But you live in a studio apartment. I live in a penthouse downtown. I've lived there for 8 years. It's 3,500 square feet with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay. You've never visited me, so you wouldn't know that. And your car. My car is a 2009 Honda because I like it and it's reliable and I don't care about driving something flashy. I also own a Tesla and a Range Rover, but I prefer the Honda for daily use. This can't be happening, Jennifer whispered. The dress. My mother gestured weakly at my outfit. The dress cost $200 because I don't think spending thousands of dollars on clothes is a smart use of money. I have plenty of expensive clothes. I just don't enjoy wearing them. Alan Brennan cleared his throat. So, I'm guessing you're not interested in that junior account coordinator position? No, but thank you for the offer. Margaret Chin was smiling now, a genuine smile. And I'm guessing you won't be answering phones at my PR boutique? Probably not. Good. Because that would have been a terrible waste of your talents. She extended her hand. It's an honor to meet you, Ms. Williams. I've been following Nexus Solutions for years. What you've built is extraordinary. I shook her hand. Thank you. I appreciate that. The television was still going, now showing a photo of me from the Forbes article Margaret had mentioned. It was a professional headshot taken in my office with the Seattle skyline behind me. I was smiling in the photo, looking confident and successful and nothing like the failure my family had been describing. In a rare interview last year, the reporter was saying, Williams discussed her philosophy of staying out of the public eye despite her massive success. I don't need the attention, she said. I just want to build good software and solve real problems for clients. Everything else is noise. The reporter continued. Nexus Solutions currently employs over 3,000 people across 12 offices worldwide. The company's software platform is used by major retailers including Walmart, Target and Home Depot, as well as countless smaller e-commerce businesses. Industry analysts suggest the Amazon acquisition could value Nexus technology at an even higher premium once integration is complete. Derek had his phone out, scrolling frantically. It's true. It's all true. Sarah Williams, founder and CEO of Nexus Solutions. Stanford dropout who built one of the most successful enterprise software companies in the industry. There are articles going back years. How did we not know about this? Because you never asked, I said simply. Because you decided who I was and what I'd accomplished and you never questioned those assumptions. But you never told us, my mother protested. You never said you were successful. I tried. Many times. Remember when I invited everyone to Nexus's 5th anniversary party? The one at that nice hotel downtown? Dad said he wasn't going to waste an evening celebrating my little internet hobby. Remember when I wanted to talk about the company at Christmas 3 years ago? Jennifer told me to stop boring everyone with my business talk. Remember when I offered to help with Mom's remodeling project because I knew a contractor? You said you didn't want charity from someone who was barely scraping by. My father's face had gone gray. We assumed. You assumed I was a failure. And you liked that assumption because it made you feel superior. It made Jennifer's accomplishments seem more impressive by comparison. It gave you all something to look down on. That's not true, Jennifer said, but her voice was shaking. It is true. You've spent 15 years telling everyone I was an embarrassment. Telling your friends I was a failure. Using me as a cautionary tale. And now you're learning that the failure sister is worth $3 billion. The silence was absolute. Even the string quartet seemed afraid to make a sound. A man in an expensive suit approached us. He looked vaguely familiar. Someone from Derek's side of the family, maybe a colleague. Excuse me, but are you really the Sarah Williams? The one who built Nexus? I am. I'm Marcus Reed. I'm a venture capitalist. I've been trying to get a meeting with you for 2 years. I remember your emails. We wanted to invest in Nexus's Series C round, but you turned us down. You turned everyone down. You said you didn't need outside capital. I didn't. We were profitable enough to fund our own growth. Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. He looked at Jennifer and my parents. Do you people have any idea what she's accomplished? Bootstrapping a software company to a $7 billion valuation? Without venture capital. Without debt. That's virtually unheard of in this industry. She's one of the most successful entrepreneurs of her generation. We're learning that, my father said quietly. More people were approaching now, people from the wedding who'd been watching the TV or reading about the acquisition on their phones. They wanted to meet me, to shake my hand, to ask about Nexus, to talk about the Amazon deal. I answered their questions politely. Yes, the acquisition would close in about 6 months pending regulatory approval. Yes, I'd remain as CEO of the Amazon division. Yes, we were planning to expand into international markets using Amazon's infrastructure. Yes, I was excited about the partnership. Through it all, my family stood frozen, watching this alternate version of their sister and daughter interact with people who actually understood what I'd built. I can't believe this, Jennifer kept saying. I can't believe this is happening. Believe it, Margaret Chin said. She'd stayed close by, seeming to enjoy watching the family dynamic collapse. Your sister is one of the most successful people in this room. Possibly the most successful person at this entire wedding. But she never said anything. She tried. You didn't listen. The wedding coordinator appeared, looking harried. Ms. Williams, Jennifer, we need to move forward with the schedule. The caterers are ready to serve dinner. Right. Yes. Dinner. Jennifer looked dazed. Everyone should go to their tables. The guests began moving toward the reception area, but many of them kept glancing back at me, whispering to each other, checking their phones for more information about the acquisition. Sarah, my father said quietly. Can we talk? Privately. I don't think there's anything to talk about, Dad. Please. Just for a few minutes. I looked at my watch. 5 minutes. I have a conference call with Amazon executives in an hour. Need to get back to my hotel. Your hotel? My mother asked. The Fairmont. Presidential suite. I've been staying there all week while I finalize the acquisition details. But you said you were staying at a motel 10 miles away. No, Jennifer said that. I never corrected her because I wanted to see how far she'd take it. We moved to a quiet corner of the garden, away from the other guests. My parents stood close together, looking smaller somehow than they had an hour ago. Jennifer was crying quietly. Derek looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. "We're sorry," my mother said. "Sarah, we're so sorry. We had no idea." "You had every opportunity to have an idea," I interrupted. "You chose not to. You chose to believe I was a failure because it was convenient. Because it fit your narrative." "That's not fair," Jennifer said. "Isn't it? You told an entire wedding full of people that I was an embarrassment. You said I was a cautionary tale. You tried to set me up with entry-level jobs answering phones. You did all of that in front of 100 people, Jennifer. And you didn't do it because you were concerned about me. You did it because you enjoyed it. Because it made you feel important." "I didn't know." "You didn't want to know. There's a difference." I looked at each of them in turn. "I built something extraordinary. I built it from nothing. I built it while you were all telling everyone I was a failure. I built it while you were making excuses for me to your friends. I built it while you were pitying me. And I did it all without your support or your help or even your basic respect." "What can we do?" my father asked. "How can we make this right?" "I don't know if you can. I don't know if I want you to." I checked my watch again. "I need to go. I have that call." "You're leaving?" "But the reception, the dinner." "I was seated at table 7, Mom. Table 7. With the people you had to invite but didn't want to talk to. That tells me everything I need to know about where I stand in this family." "We'll change your seat," Jennifer said desperately. "You can sit at the head table. You should be at the head table." "I don't want to be at the head table. I don't want to be at this wedding anymore. I came because you're my sister and I thought family was important. I was wrong. You've all made it very clear over the years that I'm not really part of this family. That I'm an embarrassment you tolerate." "That's not true," my mother protested. "It is true. And now you're upset because your embarrassment turns out to be a billionaire. Because your failure daughter is more successful than you ever imagined. Because you have to face the fact that you've been wrong about me for 15 years. I started walking toward the parking lot. "Sarah, wait." Jennifer called after me. "Please don't go. This is my wedding." I turned back one last time. "It's a beautiful wedding, Jennifer. The venue is perfect. The flowers are gorgeous. The food will be excellent, I'm sure. You got everything you wanted." "Except my sister," she whispered. "You never wanted your sister. You wanted someone to look down on. Congratulations, you had that for 15 years. But it's over now." I walked to my car, my 15-year-old Honda that I loved, and drove away from the Ashford estate. In my rearview mirror I could see my family standing in the parking lot watching me go. My phone buzzed with texts as I drove. My mother, my father, Jennifer, all of them wanting to talk, to explain, to apologize. I didn't respond. Instead I called my assistant. "Hey Amanda. Can you push the Amazon call back by 30 minutes? Thanks. Also, I need you to schedule a meeting with our PR team tomorrow morning. The acquisition announcement has gotten more attention than we expected. We need to prepare a proper media strategy." "Already done, boss. The requests for interviews are flooding in. Everyone wants to talk to you. Forbes, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. Tell them I'll consider interview requests after the acquisition closes. Until then, we're keeping our heads down and focusing on the integration planning." "Got it. Anything else?" "No. Thank you, Amanda." I hung up and drove through the city, toward my hotel, toward my conference call with Amazon executives, toward my $3 billion future. My phone kept buzzing. More texts. Then voicemails. Then emails. My family wanted to talk. Wanted to apologize. Wanted to understand. But I didn't owe them anything. Not my time, not my forgiveness, not my explanation. I'd spent 15 years building something extraordinary while they told everyone I was a failure. I'd done it without their support, their belief, their encouragement. I'd done it alone. And now they knew. The whole world knew. The bride's embarrassment sister was actually worth $3 billion. The family failure had built an empire. The look on Jennifer's face when the news broadcast started, that moment of dawning realization, was worth more than any apology they could offer now. Because that moment was truth. Pure, undeniable truth. They'd been wrong. About everything. For 15 years. And now they had to live with that. I pulled into the Fairmont's parking garage, gave my keys to the valet, and rode the elevator up to the presidential suite. The view from up here was spectacular, The entire city spread out below me, lights beginning to twinkle as evening approached. Somewhere out there a wedding was continuing. Dinner was being served. Toasts were being made. Jennifer was probably smiling for photos and pretending everything was fine. But everyone at that wedding knew the truth now. They all knew about the sister who got seated at table 7. The sister who was publicly humiliated. The sister who turned out to be worth $3 billion. I opened my laptop and logged into the conference call. Amazon executives filled the screen. VPs, directors, lawyers, integration specialists. All of them ready to talk about the acquisition, about timelines, about synergies and market opportunities. "Good evening, everyone," I said. "Thanks for your patience. Shall we get started?" And we did. Because that's what success actually looks like. Not perfect families or supportive parents or sisters who celebrate your achievements. Just you, your work, and the empire you build while everyone else is busy underestimating you. I'd built that empire. $3 billion worth of proof that I was never the failure they thought I was. And that was enough. More than enough.